Hello and welcome to the My Star Wars live live chat. I'm your host Jonny, and I'm sorry about the mess here. We are having a massive clear out in the house. So quarantine fun. Granted, I'm not in quarantine. I'm at work, but my wife is at home, so she's having a good old clear out. So it's just me rocking the show right now. I've sent a link out to a couple of people, but the link is up in the chat up there. If you want to come on and play. So I did ask for some questions from you lovely folks, but I'm going to hold off on that for a minute because just kind of give people some time to. Hello, Mr. Rose. Hey, Anthony. Come on and join in if you want. Just want to check, can everyone hear me? It says my mic is working. I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me. Just give us a thumbs up or something on the chat. Anyone? Can you hear me? Boom. What was interesting is literally a couple of minutes ago, as I was getting ready. Hey, we can hear me. Cool. So I saw a bit of news. I'm just going to go find it. I saw it on Facebook just a minute ago. Here we go from Variety. Just let it load up. But yeah, we've had a. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Feel free to jump on if you want. More than welcome. So we had a bit of possible news. It could just be rumor. It could be news. Yes, I accept cookies. In breaking news, I don't think. No, it came out. Literally, it came out about an hour ago. So this is from Variety.com. Oh my god, all the ads. No, I don't want push note. My god. Oh, hope everything's okay there, Michael. I can't say I've had the same. I have just cat problems on a day-to-day basis. Oh my god, Variety, stop with the ads. Seriously. Okay, so a new Star Wars series is in the works at Disney Plus. Variety has learned from sources. The series hails from Leslie Headland, the co-creator, showrunner, and executive producer of the critically acclaimed Netflix series Russian Doll. Details of the exact plot of the series have been kept under wraps. No surprise. The sources will say it will be a female-centric series that takes place in a different part of the Star Wars timeline than other projects. Headland is said to be attached to write and serve as a showrunner on the series, with the show currently staffing. Reps for Disney Headland did not immediately respond to Variety's request for comment. Headland also directed multiple episodes of Russian Doll. The show was nominated for 13 Emmy Awards for its first season, ultimately winning 3. Headland began her career writing and directing the Seven Deadly Plays series, which includes Bachelorette and Assistants. Bachelorette was the basis for a directorial film debut starring Kirsten Dunst. Her other film credits include writing the 2014 remake of About Last Night and writing and directing Sleeping with Other People. Besides Russian Doll, her other TV credits include Terriers, Blunt Talk, Smilf, and Black Monday. She's currently under an overall deal at Fox 21's television studios, with the studio now under the Disney umbrella. And there we have who she is, repped by Michael Sugar at Sugar23 and Steve Younger at Mime and Greenspan, repped by UTA for directing. Usually the series development comes after Variety exclusively reported that a third season of The Mandalorian is already in the works. Yes! At Disney Plus, ahead of the second season premiere this year. The Mandalorian, one of the launch titles for the Disney branded streamer proved to be a major hit and pop culture phenomenon upon its release. Currently, 2 other live-action Star Wars shows in the pipeline at Disney Plus: Obi-Wan Kenobi series starring Ewan McGregor, and a Cassian Andor / Rogue One prequel series starring Diego Luna. Variety exclusively reported that J.B. Harold had recently joined the Obi-Wan series as the writer, while Stellan Skarsgård and Kyle Soller recently joined the Cassian Andor series. So, new series coming from Disney Plus, new Star Wars series, female centric. Of course, as soon as you jump into the comments, we're waiting on the Fandom Menace. But interesting, different side of the Star Wars galaxy that we will be seeing. Now, that is interesting. Will we be seeing something completely new, or some completely new era, or are we going to be saying, oh, it's going to be different, it's going to be new, and it's going to be in a relatively current timeline that we've seen with Mandalorian, or maybe in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Unless they're going, oh, look, we're in a different part of the galaxy, much like the Rian Johnson supposed trilogy. So, any thoughts, any feelings on this? Personally, I am going to take it. Variety are very reputable, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure it was Variety. Let me just check this. Variety that discussed. Yes, and definitely it's very early to say, and we will see. But the same, I mean, could this just be another one of those? Her reps are putting something out there, saying that she's been approached by Lucasfilm to kind of get people interested in her, kind of throw out some more like job offers, or she's probably got a couple of things that she's pitched around, and they're basically trying to kind of speed the process up by saying that she's got this thing going with Lucasfilm to try and get people interested in her, maybe, or kind of snap her up before if anything actually does become official. Well, I'm with you there, Anthony. I've got nothing either. We will see. We will see in the future, I am sure. But what I really like here is the fact that things are moving forward in terms of Star Wars and Lucasfilm. As it says in the article as well, like Mandalorian Season 3 is already in the works. I mean, that's not exactly, I wouldn't say it's news. I think we all pretty much were assuming that we were going to get to see at least 2 more seasons of Mandalorian, and the fact that Jon Favreau has been writing it for a while. I've got a feeling that Jon Favreau has been writing a lot of Mandalorian stuff before this even, before he even got the job. I reckon he probably had quite a few ideas, and was, originally he wanted to make it as a Boba Fett series. It might actually just be working with the same kind of concept, except not Boba Fett, just another guy in a Mandalorian outfit. So he's probably had like some ideas bouncing around for quite a while. We know he's got a good working relationship with Dave Filoni. So, and they talk quite a bit, especially with Favreau working on Clone Wars as well. So I just kind of guess, he's been kind of things have been stirring around in the brain pan for a while, and he's basically like, right, okay, this is season one, and then he's kind of like focused on season one. Now he's right, season two. They filmed season two. Probably partway through season two, he started writing season three. He probably already had the idea for what like the season was going to be and how it was going to look. So he's probably just kind of sitting down and writing it. I mean, hey, everyone's got the time at the minute, haven't they? So yeah, season three Mandalorian, amazing. I can't wait. And Stellan Skarsgård and Kyle Soller being cast in Cassian Andor. I mean, I can't say anything about Kyle Soller. I've not seen him in anything, and if I have, like, probably wasn't in a major role, so I can't really say, hey, I know that guy. But Stellan Skarsgård has been in quite a lot of films that I have seen, and I can't say a bad thing about his talents as an actor. He kind of does a bit of everything. I mean, I think the first thing I saw him in was Good Will Hunting, and then he was in like Pirates of the Caribbean. He's in the Marvel films. The guy, he's got a good career, and of course he was in the time-honored classic Mamma Mia. Hey, Chris, how's it going, buddy? So yeah, I've seen people kind of speculating he's going to be a rebel general or an imperial. Like, people are kind of going all over the place with what kind of role he would play. Honestly, I think it could go either way. I think he would be really cool as a villain. I've not really seen him in a villain role. So it would be pretty interesting to see him taking on a villain role. I can imagine him in like the full-on kind of imperial outfit. I think that would be pretty cool. And I mean, to be fair, I'm just happy that he's in. I'm it's a casting announcement that I'm like, oh, this is gonna be nuts. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So, been about 10 minutes. I'm going to just take a quick look at Twitter, see if I've heard anything from anyone. No, hey Chris. No, he's cast in Cassian Andor. So I mean, he'll be pretty cool in Mandalorian. But no, he's cast in Cassian Andor, unless they really want to kind of connect everything, and he crops up as probably one of Moff Gideon's buddies. I think that would be pretty cool. Kind of age him up a bit or de-age him a bit for Cassian Andor, if of course he plays an Imperial. We don't know. So, just give me 1 second. Here, I'm just doing a bit of scrolling. So, I said I was going to try and do a bit of a Q and A today. So, in the chat, if anyone has any Q&A, any Qs for me to A, let me know. And I'm just putting it out there again on Twitter to see if people want to ask some questions. We've had a question, so at least. So I'm going to jump on to that one first. So this comes from our good friends at the Star Wars Sessions podcast. So this is what they say. It comes from Twitter. So Jonny is the new head of Star Wars live action TV. Your first task: deliver a new Star Wars TV series based on new characters. What would you come up with? That's a good one. I like that. I have no idea. So if I was to be given the chance to create a brand new Star Wars live action series, I'd like the idea of having kind of a crew, not like Rebels where it's a family, kind of in the vein of Firefly, a bit of a ragtag crew. They don't always have to get along, they don't always have to like each other, but yes, definitely, probably Luke there, Anthony. He likes asking this, doesn't he? Who did he ask? He's asked it on a couple of episodes at least. So have a crew of smugglers who, true, Firefly is a found family. Have a group of smugglers who basically are not that great at it, and they learn how to be good at it. So you could actually have them. I think I pitched this to you and Michael, Anthony, something very similar, of doing like a short film where you've got these two bumbling smugglers in the cockpit of a ship, and they're talking about, how they're not going to get in trouble, and how the Empire, how everyone says that the Empire are out for smuggling and everything, they're getting away just fine, and then suddenly, they get intercepted by the Empire, and it's just those two in the cockpit. But I think kind of doing something along those lines, like people who have just ended up smuggling because it's the only, like, one of them has a ship and someone else has a connection, some really kind of obscure connection in the underworld, and kind of building it from there. I wouldn't say it would be an all-out comedy, but it could be quite comedic. So kind of in the vein of like the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, where it's like there is, or Firefly. I've got like even Firefly. Yeah, I just basically want to make Firefly in Star Wars. Hardly original, but I think it would be quite fun. I would even go down the route of casting Nathan Fillion for the role of, well, just a role in it. Oh, imagine Nathan Fillion as an Imperial. That would be interesting. Excuse me. Thanks, Chris. I said I'm going to go make it now. I have a camera and some Lego. Okay, now I'm actually thinking about doing it with a camera and some Lego. No, I don't have lots of time. So, sorry, something just rattling on the floor. So yeah, that's kind of, that would be my idea, kind of a very Firefly kind of take, set in Star Wars, with kind of that level of humor. I wouldn't kind of go as dark as they kind of end up going in the film Serenity, but I kind of try and keep it quite light. Doesn't always have to be dark and gritty. It can be enjoyable, fun, and probably kind of keep it along the line. Excuse me. I think that they've kind of hit a nail on the head with kind of the tone of Mandalorian. Kind of like, it can be like this dark and this kind of gritty, but they keep it light enough. So I think that'll be a standard that we see across the board on the Disney Plus series. So quite possibly kind of keeping it along those lines. I mean, I reckon. Like that's what Cassian Andor series will be like. I reckon that'll be what the Obi-Wan Kenobi series will be like. I mean, Ewan McGregor's got some good kind of comedic chops on him. So I think they'll be able to keep that quite light, even though I'm pretty sure they'll be dealing with some heavy kind of topics, about his character. And it's set, was it somewhere between 5 and 8 years after Revenge of the Sith, so he's going through some just over that next range. Was that from? Oh, that's from the episode where they meet the guy who was in Mal and Zoe's battalion, isn't it, Anthony? I think. Can't remember. Oh no, that's sorry, that's Solo. Hang my head in shame. Oh, I'm sorry, Anthony. I don't know. Just over that next ridge. Forward. Solo. I'm so confused. Can someone explain what's going on to me? So yeah, there we go. That's my TV kind of pitch. Anyone else want to kind of come and play? Anyone want to ask some questions? I'm just seeing if we've got anything through Facebook. I don't think we do. That's fine. I did say yes. I got it right. Solo, yay! Very pleased with myself, even if I wasn't sure. So, everyone, take a moment. Guys, everyone, here we go. It's gonna get real. Hey, boys.
Yep.
What's happening?
Now. There we go. How did we come on at the same time, Michael? Holy cow. Now I know what you meant when you said almost there. So I thought I'd kind of, go play around with that for a minute. Because that was,
I sent Jonny a message earlier, and I said, "Are you flying solo, or are you putting together a crew?" And then I had some Delilah issues to deal with, so
hopefully not bad ones.
She's all right. It's
good.
But yeah, so Star Wars, man. I was listening. I know you already talked about it, but the Variety that just came out about an hour ago, the woman thing, and I'm down for it. Give me Star Wars by whatever group diversity, and if it's not for me, who really cares? Because it could be for somebody else, and it might bring somebody else into the fandom that normally wouldn't. Just like The Mandalorian brought in so many people and made The Mandalorian. Why am I getting such a glare off of here? Made Star Wars and The Mandalorian, especially Baby Yoda. The household name, and people that could care less or couldn't care less about Star Wars. It was the cooler talk for 2 months or 3 months, and you know, it's still now with the merchandise coming out now. You know, so it's like it brought in people that would have never watched it before. So if it brings in, you know, women because they realize, wait, women actually will like Star Wars now if we give them some Star Wars content that is geared toward, even if it's not geared towards them, but just knowing that it's made by women, or, you know, it's obviously going to have, depending on what experiences you've had in life, it's going to come through in your tone. So women have obviously had different experience than the majority of the men that have, or all the men that have made Star Wars. So it's going to come through. The story is going to be a little bit different. So it might draw people in that way, you know, and if they want to, you know, I mean, if they want to give it to, you know, different ethnicity groups and say, you know, like, what was the Asian movie, a couple years ago that was all, I think it was Chinese, all Chinese actors and Chinese director, and it was like one of the biggest hits. Is the comedy. I can't think of it.
I don't think of the name, but I remember the one.
And you know, that was the thing. Like, nobody complained. Oh my God, it's all. You know, they're taking white jobs away. Well, you know, that's for another part of the fandom that no one cares about to complain about. But I mean, rational people don't think like that. So if they want to give it to people of color, whatever ethnicity group, or women, or, you know, whatever it is, just to bring in a different spin on things, I'm all for it. And if I don't like it, there's plenty of other Star Wars for me to like. So, and I don't say don't like it. Like, I don't like that they're bringing these other groups in there. I mean, once it comes out and I've actually seen it and I've watched a few episodes and had, you know, a chance to digest it and realize, you know, this one isn't really for me, but I'm probably still going to watch it. I just won't watch it again or multiple times. Kind of like Rogue One.
Well, I mean, like,
yeah, it's kind of like what you said. Kind of like what you said at the beginning, Michael. There's every part of Star Wars storytelling, regardless of what it was, has brought somebody new into our fandom. From, well, starting with the original films from my generation to the prequels, brought folks into our fandom, and then how Clone Wars did. I mean, we wouldn't have Amy Ratcliffe or Corey from Corey Stories. Who am I thinking? Corey making Star Wars. We wouldn't have either of them in our fandom if it weren't for Clone Wars and a bunch more other friends. Rebels brought new folks in. Laura from Force Toast.
Mm-hmm.
Weren't for Rebels, she would not be a friend to any of us. And Resistance brought young kids in too that are starting out where my girls' age was when they got introduced to it. They're the last of the prequel generation, the very tail end of it. Yeah, every next part of Star Wars storytelling brings somebody new into our fandom. And this here new thing might just very well do the same thing. Mandalorian's brought a ton of folks in that ain't even Star Wars fans that really took hold of that show. And maybe now they might be a little bit more into our fandom than where they weren't 8 months ago.
Well, I gotta say, like, I mean, if you look,
yeah, it always gets.
What was that, buddy?
Go.
You know, just thinking, like, I think.
Said, go ahead.
I think some of my two favorite episodes of The Mandalorian were made by a woman and a man of color. Episode 2 was Rick Famuyiwa, and I think that is just a fantastic piece of TV. And then Deborah Chow did episode 3, and you know, yeah. I honestly think, you know, those are two of the best episodes that we've seen. And then, I mean, you know, and they both did 2 episodes each. Bryce Dallas Howard, you know, a woman, directed episode 4, which is phenomenal. You know, there's not like, and I kind of think, you know, I think even my least favorite episode of Mandalorian, again directed by Rick Famuyiwa, it just wasn't my cup of tea. You know, I will still watch that on a rewatch. It's still good. It's just the one that I like the least. You know, and these are different voices that have come in from various backgrounds, and you know, making some of the best Star Wars content that has hit so many more people than kind of like what we've been getting with the films.
Yeah, but I mean that's like so. I mean, just because I'm gonna harp on the women thing again because I know you already talked about it, but I brought it back up since I was late to the party. Um, like one of the least liked um, episodes was the one that Bryce Dallas Howard did, and people are like, "Oh, it's because she's young and she's a woman," and it's like, no, she had a script. Like that, like she didn't write it. She directed it, so she already had it there. So if you didn't like it because of the storyline, that's probably not anything to do with her. Um,
Yeah.
she did the best she could with what she could, and I liked it. Like there wasn't any episode of The Mandalorian that I didn't like. They all have their different things and their different features. Probably the one that if I like had to say which one I liked the least, and I still enjoyed it, was the one where he goes in, they free the bounty hunter or the other Twi'lek. And some people love that one, and me, I was just like, yeah, it's okay, but my whole thing, people call it fluff or whatever. It's like going, and then like the last arc of Clone Wars. People are like, oh, it's filler and we should get stuff. It's like, well, no, it's telling you a story. It's telling you how Ahsoka is, where she is, where her mind is right now. And it's showing that people don't like the Jedi like we always believed they did because of these things where, we were told the story about how great they were and, they were the best thing that ever happened. But, they did some stuff that wasn't really that nice or that good, but they did it in the name of the Force. And, it's like, well, I had to choose between, people possibly dying or people definitely dying. So I chose the possible. And, your possible is just collateral damage. Well, anybody that is collateral damage, telling them, or, families collateral damage, telling them that, it doesn't matter what you say, it's not going to make it better, especially when you're like, okay, well, it's going to be okay. So I mean, it's storytelling. Like you don't go and watch any of the Star Wars movies and say, well, I'm just going to cut out this 40 minutes here or this section here because, people do, but us insanely sane ones, or however you want to put it. Like, because it's storytelling, it's building, and just like the Clone Wars built up the fall of Anakin, because that's what the whole story was really about, is how Anakin fell, because you don't really see that. Yeah, you see a little bit here and there, and it's kind of like, how did he turn so bad? How did he not know Padme was pregnant? How long did these things happen? I mean, it fills in a lot of questions or answers a lot of things that we've had. Man, I haven't even had any caffeine today or coffee or anything, and I'm just on a roll. I haven't talked to anybody since Monday. Oh my God, I'm going crazy.
Yeah, it's been a spell, bud. It's been a spell. Yeah, you're right. When you were saying earlier about what folks some call, you said it as fluff, and I've heard it on many other different shows. Their opinions. It's like, well, yeah, like that middle part, the previous 4 for Clone Wars was, some friends and folks felt like, well, that was filler, and I'm thinking there's no such thing as filler Star Wars. Every one of them stories was wrote for a reason that the storyteller wants to tell you. Now, whether or not you did or didn't like it, maybe I'm hearing that or reading it as maybe you had expectations or wants of it. You didn't go and say so. Maybe some folks do kind of say it in a roundabout kind of way, because when I'm listening to shows, I'm listening to what folks are saying, not just I hear what they're saying. And sometimes I can hear that you kind of had it once, and don't do that to yourself. Just be told that story, because that storyteller is telling you that story for a reason. Whatever that reason, maybe you get it, maybe you don't. There's some that kind of fly on by me, and maybe I miss them. Well, that's just another reason to step back and look at it again. There's no such thing as filler. Not even in Clone War stories. Then, 10 plus 12 years ago, they was telling some that weren't that great, but they were told for a reason.
I mean, I have The Mandalorian on right now, and I haven't watched The Mandalorian.
Parts of the bigger story.
I haven't watched The Mandalorian in probably a couple months, and I just put it on with the first episode. So, and real FarmBoy knows how I am with names and shit stuff. Oh, sorry, I don't mean to use profanity on your show, honey. Okay, well, no, don't give me free reign, because I'll teach myself new words sometimes. But it starts off, with the blue guy that ends up, getting frozen in carbonite. They didn't need to show him. They could have just put him on the ship and walk by the carbonite freezing station.
Yeah.
They didn't need to show the guy. I forget the comedian's name, but he, his most big recent role was on Big Bang Theory as the geologist, the big guy. He's driving the taxi. I don't think that's it. The guy driving Brian.
That's it, Brian.
Real FarmBoy's on the right track. But they don't need to show him. The getting eaten by whatever through the ice or whatever. But it's like it's part of storytelling. It's kind of going to be boring if you just tell a 12-minute story that's all action. Like, yeah, it would be nice for a 12-minute action clip, but it's not going to tell you the whole story and what needs to be done. So it's like, whatever it was, episode 4 of The Mandalorian is very similar to other things that happened in an episode of Clone Wars. Well, you had how many arcs in Clone Wars and how many episodes of Clone Wars? There's chances are if you're telling a story in the same, realm, which is Star Wars, things are going to match up. Kind of like, episode 7 was a copy of episode 4. And, it's just, whatever people want to complain about, they're going to complain. But, going back to just be happy and, like what you like. And if you don't like it, there's no reason to harp about it. Like, if you wanted me to sit here and talk about what I don't like in Star Wars, I can, but I'm not going to, write channels about it and start groups about it or whatever. And, and I'm also going to give you some positives that I find. And usually the things that I would name as negatives aren't necessarily things that I find. It's what if you took a poll of what's your biggest problem with this or that, is what would probably be the highest up there of what you asked, is what my answer would be. Because a lot of the stuff that, like I said, that people don't like, I don't have a problem with it because it's story building and it's what you need.
I think,
Yeah, maybe that's where I'm a little bit envious of both the ends, because just for me, I don't know what do you call it? I don't know what critical Star Wars is. There ain't such a thing to me. I don't know what being critical about Star Wars is. I just love all the stories for just what they are.
I see something coming out. It says Star Wars on it. I don't know if it's genetic or what, but I am predisposed to enjoy it and
buy it.
Oh, definitely. But
that just says you're all in.
Yeah, and I enjoy.
That just says you're all in. That's what that's just like all of us. That's what that says. Yeah.
There are arcs in the Clone Wars that I would happily skip. But at the same time, there are parts of these arcs that are very enjoyable. So I don't want to skip it because I know there's parts of it that I like. But at the same time, the Meba Gascon arc, I'm not a fan of that arc. But I love the weird ostrich dinosaurs. I love Gregor. I love when in the final part of that arc where they're on the Republic cruiser and they're basically taking it down from the inside. I really enjoy that. But overall, it's not my favorite.
No, you go through that part of this. You come out of a good part of the story, and then you go through that part that maybe you don't favor so much because it's connecting you up to the next part of the story. You're on the journey.
But what
pretty much
going back to what Michael said, that the Ahsoka walkabout arc. We've known about that arc for years. That was discussed at Celebration Europe in 2016 on the Ahsoka Lives panel, and the big change that they've done is they changed the character's name from Nix, who was like a young male. If you look at the art of the character design, he looks a little bit like a kind of a young Han Solo type of character, and they've gone and changed the character up to these two sisters. Now, we've seen so many Han Solo types you know, be it in Legends, be it in canon, we've seen it. We've seen a lot of it. Did we need that again? Or do we want to introduce two sisters where they have not just a dynamic with Ahsoka, but there's the whole family dynamic going on, which adds another level to it. And I think, you know, they went with that because...
Oh.
What was that?
I would say, because you asked, and I've already yelled this at my radio, well, pretty much just me and my radio here for the past 3 weeks in different shows and different things that come up like that. And you brought it up again, and I always yell at the radio when I hear folks and friends go and say it. You said, did we need that? It's never about what we need, never about what we want. There's needs and wants. I hear that as I just don't go run that around so much. But Yins would not believe how much I yell at my radio.
Oh no, I can believe how much you yell at your radio.
Yeah.
I know how much you yell at me. So
heard that about. Oh.
But I mean, think about it. So we might think right now.
Well, my radio's name ain't Michael, so that I'll take that. That's a good thing.
You know, we might think right now that, or the people that do think this, that the Ahsoka arc was, the walkabout was, a, filler, that we didn't need it. They could have given us more of this or more of that. But how do we not know what they have in planned? Because they have their 1 year plan, their 5 year plan, their 10-year plan, their 20-year plan. I mean, it's all fluid. And right now, because of this, everything's, kind of all mucked up. But how do we not know that, Ahsoka is going to show up in the last episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian and be in and out of Mandalorian season 3, or she might not. I mean, this is just completely guessing. And then they're going to spin off and give us a Ahsoka show, and it might deal with, whatever happens after this arc. And I mean, we obviously know what happens with Order 66. I don't want to make you start crying, Johnny. I know I told you the other day they're at canon. It's not going to happen, but I don't think that was just a joke. So don't get mad at me. That they're not going to have go back with Ahsoka and show us more of her going back now, being a Jedi and in the underworld and 1313, and the sisters are there, and it's something to do with the sisters, and now they're trying to, I mean, whatever. I mean, we could just sit here and speculate on all these things we might want to see done. They're going and finding Inquisitors and killing Inquisitors that we didn't even know existed, and she's using the sisters. Or, I mean, I'm just spitballing off the top of my head right now. I haven't actually really thought about this, but it's just, so I mean, how do you know that they're not gonna? Well, if they would have just brought these people in, people would have been like, well, this Ahsoka show is stupid. They're bringing in people we don't know about. Well, now we know about them, so now it's not a filler episode. It might take us 5 years to find that out when till the show comes out. But now there was a basis of a reason why they did it. Hey, let's introduce these sisters, or it's going to be, I don't think we've seen the end of them. And whether it's in comics or in a book or whatever, just give me more Star Wars. And I know people complained about it, but it's like, if you would have made them guys, people wouldn't have complained. But it's because they were girls, and I speak in generality. So when I say, people wouldn't have, yes, of course people are gonna, but the people that did complain or say, well, she was kind of a bitch, and that's not how the girl should be acting, and oh, she was stupid, she left the door open or whatever. Like, you're not gonna say, they wouldn't say the same things about if they were guys. So it all comes back to, give us more women in Star Wars, more Padmes, more Leias, more strong women, which they were strong women. They were just kind of, naive and silly. Didn't know the way that the world worked, but now they had a really quick crash course education. And when they come out with their own, or, as part of the show or side characters on Ahsoka's show, now we have a good basis for them, and we get some beautiful women back in the Star Wars.
At what point?
Well, there's nothing but beautiful women in Star Wars.
I was going to say, what if they reintroduce them in the supposed Rebels sequel? We know Ahsoka's gone off and found a ship.
Mm-hmm.
based on Rebels, what if? And I mean, that was an old Jedi ship, wasn't it? The Jedi carrier of some sort. So she's probably gone back to Coruscant at this point and found it. So who do we know that she knows on Coruscant? She knows the sisters.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't there's every chance that she brings them along for the ride.
Yeah.
I mean, Ahsoka's a pilot, Sabine can pilot, but what if they need a pilot for their adventures? I mean, I know, like we're jumping into the speculation realm, but there's every chance that these characters could come back, and why not bring them back with Ahsoka? And we, if the rumors are true, bringing them in for a series based on Ahsoka just feels like it would fit.
And we know Lucasfilm likes to bring people back, even if they're dead. It doesn't matter. So, and these people are still alive. So, I mean, that would be perfect. So her and Sabine need to come back and go to Coruscant for something. And, you just see Ahsoka be like, hang on, I know where to go. And she's knocking on the door. And what is it? 20 years later, opens up the door. And or 30, whatever the time frame that they're going to have it on there, opens up the door, and here are these girls now. They're not teenage girls anymore. They're in their 30s or 40s or 50s or whatever it is, and knock on the door and like, hey, I need your help. And they went from the second to last episode of the arc hating Ahsoka to being like she was actually our savior and she's what we needed. So it's like bye, see you later, and that lost long stranger that shows up at your door 30 years later. That's like, remember that favor you owe me? I'm calling it in now. That you never thought you were gonna, have to use or whatever.
Bet you thought I died on Mandalore. No. And by the way, I'm still annoyed that you dropped all that spice.
Yeah.
And how many people complained about that? Yet no one complains that Han Solo did it.
Yep. I mean, that's what the whole thing was, is that,
I just see it's a viable option. Yeah.
What I miss?
So I've got a blog post coming out next week. I want to find out you guys' opinion on the question I have posed. So I've just done over the last couple of weeks, I've just done a rewatch of the saga. So I'm going to focus on the sequel trilogy here, specifically one character, General Hux.
Thought I saw this coming.
You saw me asking this a couple of other places, did you?
Mm-hmm.
So my argument here is that General Hux is getting a bad rap from the fans because his character arc people have complained about his character arc over the sequel trilogy, how he goes from Force Awakens, where he's kind of like neo-Nazi, fanatical, crazy-eyed, mega speech-making, to in The Last Jedi, where he kind of feels like a bit of a joke, and then in Rise of Skywalker, basically he is, he's demoted, he's Pride's lackey, he's not used to kind of having to answer to someone above him that isn't the supreme leader. And the fans complained about this. But what if this is actually really well-crafted writing? So Starkiller Base was his baby. It was his thing. He basically, it was already in development with the Empire, as we know from Fallen Order. I don't know if you've actually gotten that far yet, Michael, so I'm sorry if I've spoiled it for you.
Yeah.
You've got to that place.
Yep. I'm almost done with it. I have to go back to Mustafar. I just went back to a couple of the planets that I was missing some completion on, and tried to do, like, I just went back to Kashyyyk the other day, and I went from 91% complete to, I think I went like 94, 95. Just trying to get those complete before I go and finish it, because I'm going to go start a new game, or a new session or whatever, on Twitch. So I don't know if I'm actually going to go back and want to try and complete it. So I'm going to try and complete it before I beat it, or end up, getting as close as possible.
Nice. I've part of me wants to kind of go back on the game that I've already got, and kind of complete it that way, or just start again and enjoy it for, just playing through. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, we know Starkiller Base was being built, but the First Order finished it. And he stands there and he says, this machine that you've built. So obviously he was running the show on Starkiller Base. We know that. And, there are a few commanders who are a bit older than him, but, this is his project. This is like Krennic and the Death Star kind of feel, kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Starkiller Base gets blown up. He doesn't answer to anyone apart from Snoke on there either.
Yeah.
Then we see him in Last Jedi. Hours later, he is on board the Finalizer with Captain Peavy, who basically isn't too keen on Hux. He doesn't say anything when Poe, he leaves it for a bit before he tells Hux that Poe is tooling with him. There is a complete lack of respect from the command of that Star Destroyer. He stands there and he makes all these speeches, does the whole speech to Hux, which, in the novelization of Last Jedi, basically it says that he was...
You know why?
Well, yeah, he wants to get down in the history books. He wants everyone to remember this moment that he was the one that destroyed the Resistance and all that, because he's failed already. He's failed at doing that.
No, I mean, do you know why? Do you know why Peavy's not? Do you know why Peavy's not keen to Hux? As you mentioned, because he's an older fella. But do you know why he's not really keen?
No, he's from the Empire. It's a completely different.
Peavy, he comes from the generation of the Galactic Civil.
Yeah. Oh, you're breaking up a little bit, buddy.
War. Yeah, Hux is a young little newbie in his eyes.
Oh yeah. And it's the same with Kennedy.
Yeah.
He's Kennedy.
He's a candidate too.
He's like, launch your fighters, take him out.
Captain Kennedy sees him the same. Kennedy is also a veteran of the Empire.
Exactly. You get these Imperial veterans, and they don't like him.
Yeah, in that short sentence, he's already disproven Hux and his motives. Yeah. No, they already know that we should already been fighting, not sitting and waiting. But you were to take it. I'm going to bring it around because I had some thoughts, and I'm going to try to keep them short in general. Why some of the fandom had an issue with Hux's kind of downgrade or downfall or being put back. That's happened through our history. And I can think of some examples. And like I said, I want to keep this short in general. Being armchair history buff, if you will, through different parts of the Civil War, being a reenactor. I'm very familiar with things that happened in that 4 awful years of war, and put back and had other folks put in their place. Same things happened in World War II. Through the 4 years of that was really bad, awful stuff. Yeah, some folks in military places screwed up and had other folks, maybe younger folks, put in their place. Yeah, so I can see in relation to that, because there's different small parts of Star Wars that comes from our past, our history, be it military or otherwise. Yeah, I can see that straight up. So for me, in my opinion, I ain't got a problem with it
I mean, I think you've absolutely
because I see
nailed-
and know those, understand them things. Maybe some of our fandom that's angry over it, they don't see that part.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, like, you've absolutely nailed kind of where I've come from on this. You know, I mean, I didn't get
Say again?
You've absolutely this. You know, I've gone down very similar route to what you're saying. Like, I've not gone down the history route, but you know, it is a case of this older generation being led by this young whippersnapper who doesn't know what he's doing. He's in a place of privilege because of his dad. And the only time you ever see him looking remotely comfortable with where he is in The Last Jedi is without all of them. Is when he's with Snoke and when he's with Phasma in the hangar bay. He's the only time he's got any real confidence. And then that's all stripped away by the last.
He knows, he's got an idea of what he wants to do. He's got an idea of what he wants to do, but he doesn't have the experience to pull it off.
And I think, like, if you correlate it into like real life terms, and the majority of the people out there in you know this country or many other countries haven't been in the military, so if you just equate to like a regular job, it's you have a boss, like the head of the company, so that's Snoke, and then it's you and another guy, and you both think that you know you should be number 2. But the head guy is like, well, you're both number 3 right now because no one's really proved that you know you're in a tie. So instead of being tied for 2, you're tied for number 3 until you know I decide what to do with you. And then all of a sudden, you know that head guy is gone, and you're like, and now the two of you are like, okay, I'm going to be the boss. No, I'm going to be the boss. Well, Kylo Ren is just like, I'm going to use the Force and flick you across. You know, you can't compete with me. You know, it'd be like in real life terms, it'd be like, I know secrets about you that will destroy you, so I'm in charge now, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you know, so then I bring in, you know, so you bring in the guy that's now number 1, brings in some other people to help out. Your power, you know, starts going down, or your value starts going down and being diminished. You know, so you lose that respect, and whether or not you deserved it in the first place or not, and you know, it just starts going down. And you know, after the period of time, by the time the third one comes down, you know that there's nothing you can do that you're ever going to get that number 1 spot, except for do exactly what that guy was going to do. And, you know, now you have to turn to traitor. Now you need to try and find out the secrets about him to get him knocked out of that spot. You know, I mean, that's how it kind of, you know, equates to like real life. So is it the arc I would have liked to have seen happen for him? No, but it's realistic. And, you know, there's a lot of things that, I mean, I know it's a movie about wizards in space, but there's a lot of realism and a lot of politics that, you know, correlate to everyday things that happen in our real world. So, I mean, that's not really that far-fetched that someone that appears to be strong, you know, behind the scenes that he's really not, you know, is losing power as things go on because the person that takes over power doesn't like him, you know, but can't just get rid of him. I mean, well, could, but it would cause more problems, you know, for running things. And you know, not even get into the whole story of it, but yeah. So it's like, I mean, it makes sense that in the real world, you know, that would happen to anybody in like in a business or you know, any corporate layered type thing.
Yeah, sounds. I mean, definitely. Like you always get there's always someone you kind of feel is after your job. Yeah, I was just about to say something to Chris there as well, Anthony. I think the only thing I can definitely say with any kind of knowledge that happens with the First Order between 8 and 9 is Battle at Batuu, which is what Rise of Resistance is all about. Where Hux is in charge of the Finalizer, and the Finalizer gets destroyed, and that's why they move to the Steadfast with Pride. That's as much as I can really say in like the grand scheme of the First Order. I know that we see a bit of kind of one little group of First Order on Batuu during the Black Spire novel, but I mean, it's not really the whole organization. unless there's been something in comics that I've missed yet.
I mean, yeah, just give us all stories about everything, and you know, whatever they have going right now with the Mandalorian, and there's been rumors of the spin-offs that are going to happen from it, and you know, give us spin-offs. And I'm not going to say, well, just as long as it's good, I want it. Well, of course I want it to be good, and I think that they're at a point right now that they're not going to put out content that's really, you know, not that good. They're going to, you know, take their time. And I think they were talking about on the Sith list the other day that some of the best TV we got and movies we got came out of the early 80s when we had the actors strike, or you know, whatever it was, and the lockdowns. Lockdowns that's now, but yeah, you know, and it's like they couldn't do it. They couldn't make any movies. So the people that wrote scripts redid their scripts, and you know, the actors kept redoing things, and you know, the production companies kept, you know, going over everything over and over again. So that stuff that came out in the really early 80s, you know, was mind-blowing compared to what it was just a year or two ago. And you know, I'm not even talking about technology wise with like Star Wars, but I mean just like the stories that we got. And you know, I saw somebody the other day when because I think it came out a day or two ago that the Mandalorian started pre-production for season 3, and somebody's like, sign them up for 10 seasons. Well, no, I don't want to sign them up for 10 seasons because there's so many good TV shows that come out, and you know, you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. And after about the 3rd or 4th season, you're like, it's not as good as it used to be. Or you know, you get a season or 2 in there that's really bad because of whatever reason, whatever happened, and then you get another year or 2 that's good, and then a couple more that are not good. And I mean, we get it so much more here in the States than you do over in the UK, Johnny, where it's like you're watching this amazing show and also it just ends. And it's like, wait, what is happening? It's like, oh, it's because it's on the BBC. And, you know, here it's like, well, it stopped being good after season 4, but people kept watching it. So we stopped it after season 12 or, you know, whatever it was. And that's how it is on the States. It's like, it doesn't matter if it's good content, as long as it's bringing people in and viewers, because we're lazy and don't want to start a new show. So we're going to ride out this show until they decide to end it for us.
Hi, Ross. How you doing? I mean, I think there's like a lot of shows. I find it hilarious. Like we end up waiting over here for like probably till the first season is finished over in well, we used to anyway. I remember when Lost came out, like we got like season 1 like quite late. So we didn't really have much of a gap between season 1 and 2, but I think like over here, like the channels were like waiting to see how well Lost performed in the States, whether or not they wanted to buy it. And I think it was the same for Heroes as well. We didn't get that for quite a while. So like by the time like season 1's finished, we're actually about like pretty much on top of season 2. So yeah, it was really weird when we actually had to wait a year for season 3 of Lost, because then suddenly Sky bought Lost. Sky took over the rights to Lost, and we were getting it like the day after the States. So yeah, we wait. Well, we used to anyway. Now everything's on streaming, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, like, did you watch Peaky Blinders?
I have not watched Peaky Blinders.
Okay. And that's the thing. BBC has so many good shows, but the majority of us in the States don't even hear about them or know about them until they hit Hulu or Netflix. So, like, Peaky Blinders came out, and, you know, like, the way I would describe it is The Sopranos, but, you know, early 1900s England. Because everyone's seen The Sopranos, so it's like that's the easiest way to describe it. And the show's amazing, but it's like I think like BBC plan on ending it, but I think they have some kind of agreement with Netflix, or Netflix has something to do with it now since they picked it up. And it's like, no, you're gonna do a couple more seasons, because it's like okay, season 1 was amazing, season 2 was amazing, season 3 was kind of iffy, season 4 you're just kind of like, I mean, it's better than what's out there, but it's not as good as the show was. And if it is season 4 right now, or it might be 3, but I mean, you understand what I'm saying, like things like that, where normally like your shows that are on the BBC, like I said, they just stop in the height of them, where it's like they're gaining popularity and they're huge, and also it's like, well, what do you mean that was last season? Well, the story's done. So I don't know what the point of that story was, but yeah, it's there was something about that I think was important. Oh, and Ross is here. Hi, Ross. How you doing? Johnny Ross is our friend from over in your neck of the woods.
Oh, hi. Hey, whereabouts, buddy? Whereabouts? What I found, UK TV is really weird. Like, we will show something for like 2 seasons and it'll be amazing, and then it just gone. And I'm like, but why? Because you could make more money. And generally, like, for the most part, it's not like you don't really get like what's gone on with American Gods, where like halfway through, they're about to start season 2, you get a new showrunner. Southbound Essex. I'm up Midlands way, buddy. Midlands, Lincolnshire. So yeah, like we don't we end up just stopping shows where, I mean, like, what was it, 2 seasons of The Office? Whereas you guys had like what, 15 of the US version?
Yeah, 12, something like that. And
Johnny doesn't know that story yet.
And after the first after 8 seasons or whatever, Michael leaves, the main character leaves that made the show, and it's like the show kept coasting along because the rest of the cast was good enough.
I want to say Johnny doesn't know who Ross is yet.
Oh. Well,
no, me and Ross have not. We've not. I don't think we've come across each other in the live stream, live chat verse just yet. But welcome.
You'll find out who he is soon enough. Don't worry. And then you're going to say, "Why didn't you tell me?" And, that's just the way it goes.
More than likely. I've just completely lost our train of thought.
Yeah, so it's like The Office. You guys got 2 seasons. We'll just call it 12, or we'll call it 10. And after 7 or 8 seasons, Michael leaves, or the last, whatever it was, and then it's just kind of like, okay, it's still a good show, but not as good as it was, because this one character. It's like you take one person out of the ensemble, and the ensemble's still good, but it's not the same team.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Ross, introduce yourself to Johnny. Johnny's scared now. He's like, what's going to happen?
I mean, like, I think I've seen like the first 5-6 seasons of the US Office, and I can't see it working without Michael Scott, because he ends up being like the heart of the show.
That'll be post show.
But then, like, if you look at like Parks and Rec, same makers. Like, you've got was it Mark Bandanowitz, who leaves at the end of season 2, and by the time you get to season 4, you've forgotten who he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's I mean, there's very few shows that can go a long time, and it's like the ones, I mean, Law and Order, and because they don't run out of stories, because they take stories out of the headlines. And so it's like, just as long as you can have the good characters going. So it's like Law and Order, most of those stories are based on real stories that happened in New York or all over the country.
Oh, there's nothing to be scared of, I'll tell you that right now. There's not. Excited maybe.
He was in the film.
Excited maybe, but not scared.
So for those of you that are going to be listen. For those of you that are going to be listening to this, Johnny's mind just got blown. So he just realized that Ross Sambridge, who came in to the chat, was an actor in the Star Wars films. And Johnny's just finding out who he is. And if you are listening to this, go ahead and watch this. You're at, I don't know how editing is going to be, but you're at minute about 110 if he doesn't edit it too much. And his face just keeps going in from more shock to more shock to more shock. And now I think he's trying to Google things and figure things out for himself.
Shut up. Shut up.
Hey, I got to keep it going, you know? We can't have dead air.
Oh my god, you played you did. We got we've Snoke.
Read what he said.
Oh my god, I am. This is a.
Go ahead.
This is
Read what he
nuts.
said.
Were you? Did you also play Sagwa?
Yeah.
I am honored.
Yeah, I've been friends with Ross for I don't know how long on Facebook, but we became friends just for whatever reason because like we both had like Star Wars in our profile or whatever, but we never really talked about Star Wars. So I don't know if it's been like a couple months or a couple of years that I've been friends with him. And I mean, my channel on Star Wars, it's TooMedToo, so it's a droid, and it says Star Wars right in the title, so it's kind of hard to miss that. So we found each other somehow, but never really talked. And then the other day when we were doing one of my, we were going through the art book. I never pay attention to the chat. And he was messaging the chat like, "Hey guys, I want to come on and talk to you. I want to come on and talk to you." And I noticed it because somebody was like, is he for real, Michael? And I was like, I have no idea who he is. Hang on. And I looked on Facebook. I was like, all right, well, he's my Facebook friend. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to let him on anyways because, everybody's allowed to come on. And then we find out that, okay, yeah, he really is. So we sat there and talked with him for hours. So it was an amazing time. And, we're he's being introduced to our Star Wars.
Well, I'm envious because he's over there across the pond with you.
Here we go. I think we're gonna get Ross coming and playing.
Yes, sir.
Oh, so this is nuts.
Yeah, that's how.
Did not expect this.
I think you might have came on that chat too. Maybe when I was doing the book. Maybe last Friday. I don't know.
Oh, I think I did. I dipped in, and then
when we weren't doing the book anymore, there was 4 of us talking.
No, I dipped in quite early, and then
okay.
I was like, I was doing loads of stuff, so I ended up having to like bow out pretty quick, because we've had quite a few plumbing problems.
4 hours. Yep.
Yeah.
Jonny, put the StreamYard up in the chat. Put the StreamYard link up in the chat.
Yeah, it's in. It's in. Oh, here we go. Hello.
There we go.
Snoke Wookiee Ross, how you doing?
Oh, very well.
Good to see you again.
And you, my friends.
Boom.
How are you doing?
Right,
very
if it starts
well.
getting choppy, on my end, I'm going to step back so that you can talk.
There's a bit of a delay.
Sorry?
Bit of a delay.
Yeah, he was there for a short spell.
Is it delay?
He was there for a short
How much of a delay do you have?
Oh, about 10 seconds.
Are you watching on StreamYard?
Yes.
30.
Oh, I'll take off Facebook.
Yeah, take
What
off
about now?
Facebook. Can you hear me now?
Is
Last Thursday.
I'll take it off Facebook.
Okay.
Okay, so we should catch up now. I can hear you now. I can hear someone now.
welcome
All
to
right, so-
technology.
Right.
Okay, go.
So if no one says anything for a second,
Can you hear me now?
I can hear everybody now, but there's about a 10-second delay.
All right, well. Because, yeah, usually in StreamYard, there's not that much of a delay, but if you have it on...
How about now?
like-
How about can you hear me now? All right.
yeah, we can hear you fine.
I think I had the other StreamYard. I had 2 StreamYards, I think.
Okay.
That's what made there was a bit of delay and overlapping and looping. So
Okay.
yes. Anyway, relax. How is everyone today?
Good, thanks. Good, thanks. You?
Yeah, no, good. It's been a good. I won't be able to stay on for too late because it is 11:20.
It is.
You know, and but lovely to see you all again.
Okay, like I
and to meet you, Jonny.
said, if it gets choppy,
Sorry.
if it gets choppy, I'm going to step back.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Did you want any questions? Have you got any questions, Jonny? You know, or
I'm just
you're still
floored right
going
now.
his mind's blown.
Yeah, like. Oh look, you friend in the chat, and it's Snoke.
Yes.
Did you actually have to wear a gold robe?
Yes. I was the only one to wear the
I
gold
didn't
robe.
get set up. There
Oh
he is.
wow! And
Yeah.
the slippers.
Yes, especially the slippers, made to measure for my feet.
Were they comfy?
Yeah, I mean the Michael Kazian, he was the chief costumer on the set.
Teams.
Made the slippers because I've been wearing them all the time,
Yeah.
and I would walk up and chuck people about and stuff, and I'd have to make sure that my toes and icy kept pleasantly comfortable. So they had a pair that they made on set, but they were too small. So Ryan Johnson said, just make another one. So I believe that was the case. So I put on a pair of slippers and sat on that throne with the gold robe and the very long trail of robe, and it was a very pleasant experience for, I think it was about 3 weeks in total. I was actually on the set for, and
Wow.
every day on set was just fantastic because I got to work with so many great people, to meet some idols,
Alrighty.
and
Good.
you know, it was just a lovely experience. So and then I thought if that wasn't fantastic enough, then
All right. Any delay?
then to work on to solo.
One more time.
Did anyone?
All right.
Was there a delay?
No, I got you fine.
Yeah, I've got you
Okay.
fine.
All right. No, yeah. So I was just saying that if that wasn't fantastic enough to work on that set, to work on the set for Kessel and the Spice Mines on solo was just was incredible.
Did,
You know,
did you get to go on the Falcon?
I was saying to these
Yeah.
lovely people the other night. There were 3 versions of the Falcon at Pinewood, and there was a full scale one which we saw, but the one that the Wookiees escape out of on Kessel is a half size one. It's
Very
actually
well.
it's in the Making of Solo book.
I haven't picked it up yet. I need to get it.
Oh, it's a very good read. you might see some people that you recognise, and yeah, so it was lovely to touch the falcon and to attempt to go up the door that comes down. But I don't want to say too much because it might spoil the magic of Star Wars. You know, I was saying quite a few things behind the scenes to the guys last time.
Nothing spoils the magic. It's all magic.
Yes, yeah. It was. As I say, it was amazing experience on there, and I say to work with Woody Harrison and Woody Harrison and Emilia Clarke, and very nice. You know, it's not bad. You know, it's not bad. But you know, sorry, I feel like I'm taking over the show again. I do apologise.
That's fine. That's fine.
No, I've done it. I did it the other night. I mean, you know, it's about the illustrations in Rise of the Skywalker book, and just 3 hours. It was basically, and I didn't mean to do that. And I'm sorry about that.
Listen, Johnny's just happy he's got somebody on the show that makes me shut up. So.
No.
I see you've got a bit of a collection there, Johnny, of pops and a bit like Michael, and I'm sure Rural FarmBoy has got some pops hanging about.
Oh, haven't you heard? Michael does not collect pops.
No, not pops. No, sorry, Funkos, or just the actual. It might be in box. Whatever they are behind you, they you collect. Yes.
It's Star Wars merchandise that just happens to be in the form of a pop, but I don't collect pops.
Okay. All right then. I stand corrected.
104 is not a collection.
It's a what, sorry?
104 is not a collection.
No. I mean, it's the same with my DVDs and Blu-rays. I mean, I say to people, it's not a collection; it's a library. So you know, it's, and I find that when you're working, you never get around to watch any DVDs. But because we've been in lockdown for the last 6 weeks, you've got no choice to watch and the Blu-rays and things. And you think, well, I've watched that now, I might as well sell it. But you can't sell it because no shops are open. So you go around in circles and you end up just not actually selling them at all and just sitting there going, God, it's dust collectors again. So, but yeah, no, I've got a few. Let's see if I can do that. Yeah, I've got a few. Stuff myself up there. You know.
Well, you've got to have like a Snoke figure up there.
Oh no, I've got me because I was the they used my body as the figure for Snoke for all the merchandise. So the I'll show you him.
Johnny, he's a tall feller.
I mean, Snoke's a massive massive character. So
I heard that I was a tall fellow. Yes, I am a tall fellow. I'm 7'1". I'm 7'1". So
7 foot.
yeah, and Snoke's originally that size. So that's me basically. That's me in the Golden Robe.
So
you know, I posed for the actual thing, and they took photographs, and they turned my body into the figure that you have, and it's the same for the Black Series figures. And because I've got a slight curvature of the spine, and I don't know if I mentioned this before to you guys, but because I've got a slight curvature, and I distinctively remember on the set, the AD went over to Ryan Johnson and said,
Gotcha.
Sorry? Hello?
No, we're listening.
Oh yeah, you're listening. No, sorry. I thought FarmBoy was saying something. No, yeah, no. So I remember on the set, the AD going over to Ryan Johnson said, "Look, Ross has got a curvature of the spine. Does that matter?" And Ryan said, "No, we'll just change the body shape of Snoke." So my curve became used on the film. So they incorporated my curvature, and therefore all the figures have got a curvature of the spine. So if you ever get a figure, even the pop figures that Michael don't like, if you run your finger around the back of of his back, you can actually feel a slight curve, and that's me. So there we are. So
I'm gonna test it.
oh, you've got one, have you? Oh, lovely.
Johnny's about to rub your back right now, Ross.
Oh.
Yep.
It's spine tingling.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Oh,
I felt that. Thank you for that. That's nice.
So yeah, you just snuck in The Last Jedi. They didn't have you in for Force Awakens at all.
Well, no, Force Awakens. It was just it was a hologram, wasn't it? So Andy did the, but they wanted an actual person to look at to actually interact with properly, and but they knew that they wanted him tall and thin and gaunt.
Yeah.
And it's mentioned that like in the online and also in the books that he's a very opposing figure and he's aloof. And they had I just got a call from my agent saying that they want you to come down for a fitting, and so I came down straight into the fitting, and they said, you've got the right sort of body shape. And then when I went on the sort of like show and tell, when I had the outfit on, Ryan Johnson just literally came in and said, "You must be our Snoke." So that was nice. As you do, I thought, well, that's cool. And then, a couple of weeks later, I was on the set. And but I think the actual what makes Snoke is the gold robe. That's why I find. I mean, I don't know if that's just me just saying that, but it's because it gives the form, and so. Yeah, and that it wouldn't work on a shorter person, so they wanted a tall, sort of like, let's say, slim figure, and luckily I'm both of them. And so when the drapes move, and they flow in such a way that it is quite sort of like creepy.
Yeah.
But there's still that strength and sort of like dominance behind it. So anyway, it was just brilliant to do and to just be a part of it all, really, be part of the Star Wars family, and because of doing that, and I've been lucky enough to do Comic Cons and shows and things, and it's just a shame that this has happened with COVID, that I can't do the shows that I wanted to do. Because I think more than half the fun of doing the shows is meeting the fans and sharing stories, and it's to some people, Star Wars or any film franchise or whatever, it's part of what makes them them, and they like to show that. They like to dress up. They like to become their favorite characters and stuff, and favorite things, and even down to like T-shirts, like what Michael's wearing, the fact that you can tell it's a Star Wars T-shirt, it's what makes him, be who he is, I suppose. And we've all got like Star Wars socks or Star Wars underpants or whatever, and I don't think there's ever been a film series to emulate that, and I don't think there will be. And even though we've come to.
That's a story, yeah.
I don't know who said that, because
that was Anthony.
I don't think he's frozen. He's done that like a ventriloquist.
Yeah.
If we all do that, that'll be really weird, isn't it? Yeah. So so that was cool. So you were saying. Yeah,
that's true though. That even if, you take a Disney movie that comes out, ever, it has merchandise for when it comes out, and that's usually about it. But even a Star Wars movie, when they did Jedi, there was still Star Wars merchandise that was coming out in the 80s and the 90s, and we weren't going to, besides the books and stuff that's not canon, but like T-shirts and things like that, and socks, like you said, were still being made and still coming out, and underoos and our underwear, and it was nothing else has ever been like that. And then especially since they make another 3 movies, and another 3 movies, and now TV shows and cartoon, that's
Yeah, that guy there, man.
Hello.
Hey, we've got someone new coming in. Rick's Mace.
Hello, how are you guys?
I'm good, thanks, Rick's Mace. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm alright, man.
Lovely.
How you doing?
What's this stream like? Are you like what you play with toys and that, yeah? Like Star Wars toys and that?
No.
We
No.
talk about Star Wars
We talk about Star Wars.
Oh, and you collect the toys, the dolls.
as a collection.
Well,
You know the guy in the middle there? He looks. Have you seen Resident Evil?
Bye.
Man, I don't know who that was.
that was
No
fun.
idea.
So,
So
right,
anyway,
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's
Alright.
discuss this fact. Let's just discuss that what just happened there.
we'll just forget that.
Yeah, we'll just-
well, I mean, what kind of idiot are you that you come on something? It says My Star Wars Live Net, and it has Star Wars in my name, and the name, and then says, "What are you guys talking about?" And then, I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. But
I mean, I got a little bit skeptical when
Yeah, Johnny.
had UK news.
He's
Well, I wasn't sure if it was someone who I haven't met through Michael yet. He's just popped up in backstage.
he's got a pretty neat little collection himself of some pretty interesting things.
Yeah. Who was that talking just then?
That was Anthony.
Oh right, okay, no, it's just because these
All right,
pictures
you ready?
stopped and
So
yeah.
I've got to ask you.
Yes, Johnny.
So they did they did the whole robe thing. The robe is you.
Yeah.
Have you got to see the outfit that they've given Snoke in the comics?
Is that the one he's got like a I've got the comic somewhere. Is that like he's wearing is it a green number or
Yeah.
like a little
weird-
he's either wearing a little hat on or something?
Don't know if you can see that one.
Yeah. Yeah, well it's certainly different.
Would that be anything that you'd have expected, really?
I think the eyebrow says it all really.
Ross, do you think you would look good in that?
Oh, I think I'll be the business, wouldn't I? Really, but I liked what I wore. Really, and it was. I think it is more him, you know.
I think you've got like you've got like Adam Driver who's got to wear like the mask and
Yeah.
Anthony Daniels in that suit. You've got out of all the costumes, you must have had the comfiest one.
It was lovely. It was like wearing a dressing gown or a smoking jacket in a way. I mean, you had like the undergarments underneath that you wears and things, but no, it was long enough to cover my legs, and obviously I'm a very tall guy, so obviously it was draping and it was trailing behind me. I mean, the belt was very long. That was extremely long. That was longer than my body, I think. But no, it was very nice, and I had to make sure that I didn't get any mess on it, especially if I was eating dinner or and when it was time to maybe have
One more time.
What was that, Anthony?
I think Anthony's on the delay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just I'd make sure that I had to look after it. So it was probably very expensive.
See, you can't give away all your secrets at one time because you got to keep coming back for more.
Definitely.
Yes.
You know, we gotta go.
Well, as
Yeah.
as you said earlier, Ross, it is getting on. It's 11:30 now, I think. And I unfortunately have got to go to work tomorrow.
Yes.
So,
So you're a key worker, are you?
according to my company, the company I work for, I am, yeah.
Right.
So
Okay. Well, look, it's been lovely to chat to you all.
you too.
I hope we can do this again.
Yeah, definitely. I'm aiming to do this every Wednesday, so give or take.
Well, it's Wookiee Wednesday, isn't it?
Well,
It is now.
definitely.
Well, it is. Yes.
I think
All right,
next time I'm going to bug you about Solo a bit more. So.
And Johnny, on Saturday or Sunday, because I did Trivial Pursuit the other day, but I did it at 11 o'clock at night, so it would have been 4 a.m. for you guys. So I've been a little bit late. This week I haven't decided if it's going to be Saturday or Sunday. I haven't figured out the time yet, or the date, but I'm probably going to do it around 12 o'clock. Our time, so it'll be like 5 o'clock your time. If you can make it.
Yeah, I can do that.
I'll see what I can do.
So yeah, I'm gonna figure that out, and then the first time it was kind of we got a little sidetracked, and we were trying to figure out what to do, and ended up boring for some of the participants because it was if you got a question right, you kept going.
Right.
Well, they were Star Wars questions, so everybody would go and get a turn for 10 questions and miss one question. And there was 4 teams, and so there were people sitting there for 45 minutes not answering a question, just like, okay. And I could only have 6 people in at a time, and there was 8 of us, so I was shuffling people in and out. And so but there were some people that just kind of sat there for a while without questioning. So we changed it up a little bit. We're going to you go until you get a question wrong, or you get a pie. For Trivial Pursuit, or a piece of the pie. That way, everybody's going to get at least 5 or 6 turns, and nobody's going to take, have to sit there for that long of a period of time. So it should be, just working out the kinks right now.
You could throw a curveball and maybe ask questions about Star Trek.
There you go.
Oh no! If I say something wrong there, haven't I?
I don't know a lot.
Yeah. Every third question. That's it. The pies. So the regular questions are going to be Star Wars. The pies are going to be Star Trek, just to make it impossible to play. Well, I wouldn't know any of the answers anyway, so.
I might be able to answer something about the J.J. Abrams film. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's done right for himself, hasn't
he? Yeah.
Oh,
one more question, actually.
Yes.
Were you brought in for kind of like a reference for Snoke's body in Rise of Skywalker at all? When we see him in the vat of cloning goodness?
The only way I can answer this question is that I was led to believe that Snoke might come back at some point, but I wasn't told how, in what shape or form or whatever. So I can only say possibly they had me as reference, but I can't guarantee. I can't confirm anything.
Right.
I did. Well, we'll say this though, as you're on the point of the VAT, is what I said to the guys the other time is that when you watch Rise of Skywalker, Snoke is floating about the start. But he doesn't seem to be floating about at the end.
Yeah, true. I was watching that last night.
And you think, well, and I don't know anything about anything. So all I know is what I know, and what I know is partly what you know. I don't know. It was just interesting. That's all. But so yeah, to answer your question, oh my God, my face is really big. Yeah. So yeah, to answer your question, it might have been used as reference, but right. I don't really know.
Okay.
That's the honest truth. But it's always nice to see someone's reaction when they find out who I am. I mean, the lady the other night, Rachel, yeah, she her chin bounced from the floor virtually, and You were very surprised yourself, weren't you? Your mind was kind of blown away. But
I was like, Stormtroopers boss. So I was like, oh, was he one of the Stormtroopers? And then I was like, Snoke? Really? Quick Google, and I'm like, oh my god, okay.
Yes, it's always nice. I think because of COVID, and myself and other actors can't get to meet people at shows at the moment. Maybe this is the way forward. Just like do webcams like this sort of thing and go, well, if you want anything in the future, send us an email and I can email you a picture over to you, sort of thing. Maybe it's just because that's what I think what people are missing out on. The norm of going to these shows and things, and now they've cancelled Celebration, haven't they? So
not yet. It's Comic-Con got cancelled the other day. I think Celebration is next on the chopping block.
Well, that's all. Celebration isn't officially canceled, but the governor is saying that there's not going to be any large groups allowed to gather.
Sorry.
At the time Celebration's supposed to be there, but it ends up being the same thing. It's going to have to be if Celebration does happen. I can't see. I don't know how they're going to do it because we can't have all those people in a convention. They're going to have to do it online. Is the best way I can think of, and but I really have no idea.
But we'll just have to see what sees, I suppose. All right. Well, look, guys, it's been fun. Thank you very much indeed again.
Thank you.
Sorry I was a little bit late to the party again, but I'm glad to see it. And maybe I should grow a beard for next time. I feel like a little bit. Sort of like, what it is? It's sort of like before, during, and after, isn't it?
This is just pure laziness, really, for me.
That's what. Yeah, I could just take the trimmer or whatever and get to it, but you could just take some. You could just take some Wookiee fur and put it on.
No, I've got some. I can just glue it on, so But no, I'd rather sell it. Anyway, all right. Well, look, you have a lovely evening, guys. All right, take care.
You too,
All right, Ross. I'll talk to you soon.
Cheers, mate. All right, all the best, mate.
Cheers.
And thanks again for letting me join in. Cheers, mate.
Of
See you
course,
later.
anytime.
Ciao, and goodbye to and say hello. See you later to Anthony as well for me.
Worldies just popped back up in the chat.
Oh, well, take care, Anthony. See you later, mate. Bye for now.
What's up, Jonny?
Okay, tonight wins, hands down. And I noticed that you're wearing a Funko top, Smuggler's Bounty as well.
I was trying to see which one that is. I don't know if
Rebels from 2017.
Oh no, I don't have it.
I know you don't collect them, but it was.
There goes the neighborhood.
Yeah, and Rebels Rex and Rebels Mall. Yeah, pretty much had to pay through the backside to get that over here.
Oh, hey, Jonny. My buddy Ross is going to stop by later on. I forgot to tell you that when I got on here.
Really?
Yeah, I forgot to tell you that. Well. You wouldn't believe me anyway, so I would have like, oh, Snoke's coming on. You would have been like, okay, Michael. And I was like, hey, I was going to say a small world, but it's not a small world. Well, he lives, I don't know how far he is away from you, but at least he's closer to you. He's
about 3 hours, I think, roughly.
But yeah, I had been friends with him for, I don't even know. I guess I could probably go back and look and see how long I've been friends with him for on Facebook. And, we've said hi to each other or whatever. Oh, you like Star Wars? Oh yeah. Okay. And that was just about it. And then, like I said, he saw me the other day that I was on, and he's like, hey, I know about that book. I can tell you about that character. Hey, I know about that character. Oh, hey, while you're talking about this, and I never read the chat, so it's like, okay. And he's like, hey guys, and that's how it all. Yeah, and then I just posted the few pages of the art that we did for our art book, and then the conversation we had went on for a long, long time, and that went to private. So people that saw that, so you're basically like the first person I think to. Well, he's done a podcast before,
Right.
but you're the first one to, since he's started making the rounds with me and now with you, and then there's going to be some more. He's not on Twitter yet, but he's going to get on Twitter. And probably, you know, once it gets out there that he's around, he'll probably get, you know, a reaction. So you're the first one that's going to have an interview with him or talking with him, because mine, for certain reasons, had to go private.
Yeah. Was that due to like just length, or?
I mean, when you talk to somebody for that amount of time, for 3 or 4 hours, you know, we talked about a lot of things. And like he said, you know, he didn't want to take some magic away from people. So
Yeah.
he kind of gave me some in-depth descriptions of things that may have been, you know, he was like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. I don't want to, you know, not that he would have gotten in trouble for it, but
No.
you know, don't ruin the magic for some people and some things like that. So, yeah, we'll talk off camera.
Just wow. I could not believe that. That was just nuts.
Yeah, well, because he asked me the other day, he said, hey, you know, any chat? Are you doing a chat tonight? Any chats going on? I said, no, I'm not doing anything, but let me check and see what's going on. And then he was like, hey, any more trivia going on? And I said, no, nothing. I think that was yesterday. And then I was planning on coming in here at 5, but I had the dog issues. But before that, at like 3 o'clock or whatever, I said, hey, you might want to check out this chat my buddy's doing. And then before I was getting ready to come on, he said, hey, I'm trying to get on, but I can't. He was having a problem or whatever. So I sent him he was trying to find it either through Facebook or through my page. So I sent him the link then. So, and he told me he was coming on. So I said, oh, this is going to be nice to watch Jonny. So that's what makes it all worth it. Like seeing your face. And then once you figured it out, then you figured out who he was. And then you figured out more who he was. And then you finally realized exactly who he was.
Like, I was like, Snow? What? Yeah, yes, it was a complete setup. Thank you, Anthony. Oh man. Well,
see, I didn't even know that he was going to ask to come on either. So
no.
like I just knew that he was going to be in the chat. I didn't know that he was going to ask to come on, but that's, you know, why wouldn't you ask to? I mean, shit, I want to go. You know, I want to talk. If I'm going to talk Star Wars, I want to talk Star Wars with everybody. So, you know, I'm going to want to be in the, you know, except for that idiot that came on before. And if you're not an idiot, I'm sorry, but you know, you kind of are.
Sounded like one.
You know. Oh, what are you guys talking about? Star Wars. Oh, you collect dolls? That's like, okay. But yeah, so. And my views and language in no way represent the My Star Wars Life Debt group ideas of you, sir. And Ross is amazing. And
well, yes, that is truly reflected.
Yeah. So I gotta figure out, because I try and do streams when other people aren't doing them, especially like friends or whatever. Like I was gonna stream Fallen Order, and then I saw that you were going on. I was like, oh, I'd rather talk to Jonny about it because I can stream Fallen Order later on when, you know, Johnny's sleeping or at work or whatever. You know, once my girlfriend goes to bed and it's midnight, I can get on there and play for a couple hours.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I try and, you know, not that it's not like a competition thing, like, oh, I'm not going to get as many views, because if somebody wants to watch it, they're going to watch it afterwards. So it's not really that big of a deal. But if I'm talking, I don't get to talk with you. So if I can put off mine and do it, you know, around or whatever. But that's why I did that. I did it Saturday night. It's the septic tank. So, you know, we get a little after you're recording for a couple hours, things start to get a little crazy, and you know, especially people have been having a few cocktails. But that's what happened this. Anyways, let me finish my first story then. So yeah, so we're gonna do Trivial Pursuit on Saturday or Sunday, and I'm shooting for around noon Eastern time or 1 o'clock, so it'll be like 5 or 6 o'clock your time.
Yeah.
However that works out or however that goes.
I'll
let you know.
Cool.
You know, I'm trying to get a couple of the UK people involved because they can't do it when I do it late night for all the rest of the United States because like the people on the Pacific coast aren't going to be doing it because it's going to be 8 a.m. when I do it, so they're probably not going to be up or giving their kids breakfast or whatever. So, yeah. But so I started doing the late night Saturday one because we get a little crazy. So like this one, it was on for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I was like, okay, guys, I'm gonna I think it's gonna be a short one. I'm gonna get going and whatever. And I told my girlfriend. She walked by and I was like, hey, I'm gonna be done soon. She's like, okay. And then somebody else came on, and then we started talking. And then somebody else came on, and we started talking. So I said it about an hour and a half, 2 hours. I was going to be done, and I think it went 4.5 hours, something like that. So it was like somebody else comes on, and it's like that's my night to sit there and do. Right, if we weren't under lockdown, that's my night to sit there and talk Star Wars as much as I can. So I have the whole night free. But yeah, so anyways, yeah, dude. So yeah, once we get him on Twitter, he was going to do it. He just hasn't gotten to it for reasons. But yeah, once we get him on Twitter, we'll get him hooked up with all of our Star Wars friends.
Definitely.
And hopefully you'll be able to find him on a stream or podcast everywhere for the next till this is done. Once we get him on Twitter, because that's the best way to get in contact and communicate with people.
As crappy as Twitter can be, if it weren't for if it wasn't for kind of like the community, like the fan community that we kind of circulate in, I'd be off. Really.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, that's yeah, that's really why I'm there. I don't go there. That's the only thing I do is Star Wars Twitter. And once I catch up on my timeline and do my timeline for Star Wars Twitter, I go to my Facebook page. And I've actually, since we've been on lockdown, I've been spending more time on my Facebook page, but it used to be 5 minutes, just go share whatever it was, and then I'm done. Now I'm actually going to people's pages and things and spending a little bit more time on there, and then going back to Twitter. Or I'm on the laptop and on my phone at the same time doing multiple things and checking Discords and whatever. So it's like this is the perfect time for a nerd / gamer. Well, but
I'm gonna have to call it a night, man. I've got to go to bed.
All right, sir.
Because up again early in the morning, and I might crack on another half hour of Rise of Skywalker.
I mean, you might as well.
To fall asleep to, really.
Yeah.
Not that works out very well.
No, because then you're like, I'm watching it, and
yeah, I think I'm pretty much at the Battle of Exegol now, so I'm going to be hopped up.
I mean, just watch it for the last half hour and finish it because it's going to be an hour. So yeah, it's all good.
So, do you want to anything you wish to plug, my good sir?
You can find me anywhere if you type in TooMedToo. Twitter. The big one, I have an Instagram and Facebook, but the big one, or the big two, are YouTube. If you just type in TooMedToo, you'll find me. You actually have to search it; it doesn't come up. And I started doing Twitch. I'm going to be doing Twitch more for my video games instead of. I'm going to do more of my talking on YouTube and Twitch for the video game side of things. So either way, you can find me on there, and it's a lot of crossover so far, and that's where we're at. I'm going to finish my Fallen Order on YouTube and then start a new Fallen Order session and do that on Twitch and see how that goes. Now that I know what I'm doing and don't have to go back and search for hours to find the last 4% of something, or oh, you can play 96% of this town. Okay, 96%. You spend 2 hours trying to find the other 4%, and it's just like, oh, I didn't know I could jump up on there to find it. But
I've got 2% left of Ilum. I don't know where the fudge that 2% is, but I've got 2% to find on Ilum.
I mean, at least you can go and go through and find out which city it is, or what
Yeah.
what area it is. It doesn't just say 4% or 2%. You can actually go through and find it. But when you get to that one that says 2%, you don't realize that you can, that those rocks, it's not one rock. There's actually two there that you can go in behind to go into a cave, and that's what you're really missing. And when you're in Kashyyyk trying to find the treasure chests underwater, and it's like you spend 10 minutes going around in a circle because you have no way to focus point or vantage point on what something is or how it is. And then all of a sudden it's like someone's like, hey, you missed one. You're like, what are you talking about? You jump back in the water and like, oh, there it is. But,
like right under you for like the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah, that was me on Ilum. In the middle of the water bed. I was like, couldn't believe it. Right, so must stop talking because sleep will take over. Yeah, I'm working on the title already. I don't know what I'm going to call it, but I'll think of something. I'll try and think of something witty. I'll do my best, Anthony. So you can find me at mystylesLifeDebt.wordpress.com. Find me on Twitter at BloodyOrm, BLOODYORME. Search for me on YouTube. We've not got the proper YouTube URL yet. I don't know what we have to do to get that, but hopefully once we get whatever we need to get, we'll be youtube.com/LifeDebt blogpod, whatever.
You need 100 subscribers. And then you have to ask them for it or whatever. I don't think they automatically give it for you, or they'll tell you that you can have it. But mine's youtube.com /C/TooMedToo. But if you go to my regular page, that's not what it is. So that's my page I can give you to find it easily, but it has a different one for everything else. But I still have my own. So we need to get Jonny up to. I'm going to put you in my channels.
Thank you.
Recommended channels.
We're in my. I've been off of you. I've not done YouTube for so long that I'm basically relearning it in the minute, bit by bit. So YouTube, mystylesLifeDebt.tumblr.com. If you want to email or anything, lifedebtpodcast@outlook.com, and patreon.com/mystylesLifeDebt if you wish to contribute to the upkeep of the blog and podcast. So thank you, Anthony, for coming on. Thank you, Ross, for surprising the hell out of me. Thank you, Michael, for completely blindsiding me with that. And thank you, everyone, for watching. So until next week.
It's 7 o'clock. No, it's 7 o'clock here. So I'm sorry. Everybody at 7 o'clock in New York City goes and hangs out their windows and yells, and for everyone that still has to work. And somehow the ghost just opened up my door when it started happening. Oh no, it's because my girlfriend opened up the window, so now there's a breeze going in, so it opened up the door. But yeah, so that's what it is. That happened the other night too. So
we do that every I think every Thursday night we do that over here. So at 8 o'clock. So yeah, cool. Well, it's past midnight. I'm at work in 8 hours. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great one, and punch it chewy.
May the force be with you.
Well, I can't beat that one, can I?